I'm the son of a coach, the brother of a coach, and I've done some coaching in my own right. And I've covered college basketball for 16 seasons as an analyst. I played for great, unbelievable coaches. My first year in high school, I played for a guy named Tom McCluskey. Tom McCluskey played at Penn State for Dick Harder. I swear to God, that's his actual name. He's a great coach. Anyway, Tom McCluskey won a state championship at Tustin High School. That's why I went there. He left, went to junior college, and I was coached by a coach named Andy Ground, who was like my second father. Andy Ground went on after coaching me in high school to coach in junior college, still coach, and won 2 state championships at Saddleback College in Southern California, in Orange County. I went to Notre Dame, was coached by John McLeod. He coached 18 years in the NBA, including the NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns, where they played in what's called the greatest game of all time, 4 overtime game against the Celtics. I also then played for Eddie Sutton, who is the winningest Division I coach to not get in the Hall of Fame. I think hopefully he'll get in there this year. He's been to multiple Final Fours and multiple schools. He's an unbelievable coach. I played in Summer League for the Lakers, so even though I didn't play technically for Phil Jackson, he was there coaching us in vet free agent camps that I was in throughout Summer League. I played in the ABA, the CBA, the IBA, you name it. I played overseas for Sergei Belov, who played in the 72 Olympic team, was the national team coach of the Russian Olympic team. I played for a bunch of great coaches. And then I've covered the NFL this year, covered college football and in person, and I've covered great college coaches. And I've seen some of the best of the best. And what separates the best of the best is one thing here or one thing there, right? Incredible level of preparedness, incredible culture, attention to detail, ability to motivate, but also ability to adjust on the fly. Like, I think Bill Self is as good as anybody I've seen. Why? Because he gets his teams to compete, get tougher, get better fundamentally, and he also can adjust on the fly and can change his game plan and make the other guy play left-handed. I've seen Brad Stevens, who his attention to detail, it's not necessarily just the plays that he runs, it's he understands the timing of everything and the placement of specific pieces on the chessboard at specific times in the game so that if you do this, they can do this. And the reads become easier for the players. I've seen some of the best. I've seen Tony Bennett. I understand the magic of Phil Jackson and the motivational factors and how Roy Williams gets his teams to slowly start competing defensively. I love how Mike Krzyzewski demands that his teams play great defense and then gives them freedom on offense. I never see anything like what we saw yesterday in Kansas City. Don't get me wrong. I think the talent that the New England Patriots have is better than people will give it credit. Right? This whole idea that if you save money on Tom Brady, you put the money in your pocket. That's not how it works. You sprinkle it around. And they gave him a better offensive line than most offensive lines. They knew he wasn't as good and they didn't have the wide receivers. They've gone through like 8 wide receivers trying to get a number 1 wide receiver. And as Tony Romo pointed out accurately, they don't really have one. But they knew that kind of coming into the season. So that's why they drafted Sony Michel. That's why they have Rex Burkhardt. So they prepared for this phase of the season and this phase of Tom Brady's career. The defense has gotten better. Like, all of these things are true. But between motivation, culture, preparedness, ability to adjust, let's not kid ourselves. Tom Brady doesn't throw an ill-fated pick early on in that game. They're up 14-0. What I thought was bad play call on fourth and 1 early in the fourth quarter, and they are dominating the game. Tom Brady threw a bad interception. All interceptions are bad, but this one was on him when Julian Edelman is crossing and he held the ball a bit too long and threw it a bit too high, too hot. Basically, he hit off Edelman's helmet, or that hit his hands. But, I mean, that's a really hard pass to catch. Bad throw. Karem's up in the air, and they pick it off. Kansas City Chiefs are playing at home. Playing at home. And they got, that was a methodical ass whooping. It took them overtime to win the game because Kansas City, they're actually better than the Patriots. That's the magic of coaching. That's the best coach football team I've ever seen in my life. Do you know what they did to the Chargers the week before? The Chargers have the best rush end tandem in the NFL. Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram are that good. They are. And Derwin James is a freak. And they got 6 or 7 defensive backs that fly around. So not only did they wallop the Chargers by lining up and running fullback wham and power football, but they won the opening coin toss. And unlike any other team in the NFL, even unlike the Patriots, because the Patriots are famous for flipping the game before the half. They're the best in the NFL over, I believe, the past 2 seasons and maybe the past 3 yet, how often they score on their last drive of the half. It's something they practice because there's the attention to detail is disgusting. Right? So what'd they do? They won the opening coin toss. Do you want to defer? No. We want the ball. Want the ball. And we're going to, and like Matt Hasselbeck said, but they thought it, we're going to score. And they got the ball and they marched down the field. And the Chargers score and they got the ball and they marched down the field. And they got the ball back and they marched down the field. And they kick the hell out of arguably the best roster remaining in the playoffs with the Chargers. So then they go to Kansas City. They didn't win the toss. So they get the football. And what'd they do? They got the ball and they lined up and they marched down the field. Because they knew exactly what Kansas City was going to come out in, and they knew exactly how to attack it and exactly when to attack it. And their first 15 was just better. And then, Kansas City gets the ball, and suddenly the best offense we'd ever seen. And Pat Mahomes looked completely confused. It took him an entire half to kind of settle down. He was fired up, and the offense was misfiring. And by the way, they did to the Chiefs what people used to do to the Patriots. Do you remember what they used to do to the Patriots? Hey, the only way to beat the Patriots is keep Tom Brady off the field. And that's what they did to the Chiefs. You took a young quarterback, essentially a rookie, and you frustrated him. You took an offensive line and you put him on ice. You took speed players and you froze them out. And it took them a lot of time to get their engine moving. Look, the Chiefs are not bad and they're not poorly coached. Andy Reid is an excellent coach with terrific players. And that's a damn good defensive line. And they did force 3 3rd and 10s in overtime. Did you notice that Rex Burkhead was the main running back late in the 4th quarter and in overtime? Do you know why? Is Rex Burkhead more talented than Sony Michel? No. Sony Michel is going to be a great running back for a long time. But he ain't going to fumble. He ain't going to miss a block on pass protection. He's not going to forget where he's supposed to be. And that's not a knock on Sony Michel, but he was playing for Georgia last year. Let's not give a kid too much. Right? Our vets are a step slow, but not mentally. When they needed to, at just the right moment, they put Rob Gronkowski out wide. But when they didn't, they kept Rob Gronkowski in. Why? Because Gronk is a terrific blocker. Julian Edelman over the middle. Rob Gronkowski out wide. Every once in a while, we'll throw it to somebody else just to keep you honest, just to pretend you're like, hey, you can't just leave those guys open. Philip Dorsett can't get open. Fine. We'll throw a back shoulder throw. Perfect throw goes out of bounds. All right. We're just keeping you honest so that we know the coverage we're going to get on 3rd down. The defense, which is devoid of playmakers, right? Nobody you would pick on your NFL, if you had a fantasy team for football, you're not picking any of your guys. Kyle Van Noy, right? Like you go, I want Kyle Van Noy. Like, no, you're not. Devin McCourty made 2 tackles. but they put him in the right place. They took Tyreek Hill out of the game, right? Took out of the game. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make you beat us with it. This is Bill Self 101. This is where I compare Bill Self. You know, Bill Self is famous for doing, and he did it when he won national championship against Memphis, and it almost cost him the game. He goes to a triangle and two. You guys know what a triangle and two is? You guard the two best players from the other team, two guys, and the rest of the team is in a zone, a triangle. And what you say is, we're going to make somebody other than your two best players beat us. And Memphis actually almost did it. They had bad shooters throw in a couple of shots, and they had a 9-point lead with 2 minutes to go. And ultimately, their free throw shooting and a couple of miracle shots end up causing overtime. They beat them in overtime. That's basically what the Patriots did. We're going to take Travis Kelce out. We're going to take Tyreek Hill out. Triangle and two. Have somebody else beat us. And then offensively, we're going to line up and we're going to mash you and take you out of what you want to do. And then when you adjust at halftime, which Bob Sutton did, then we're going to go back. We're going to spread you out. The attention to detail. They don't fumble. They play the vets instead of the kids. They run plays that they're not necessarily taking a shot. They're just trying to keep you honest. Setting you up for an inevitable ending that we all thought. I think Brady was magnificent. But shutting down the best offense in football on their home field and scoring on that defense while taking your time and methodically bleeding the clock, compare that to what you saw around the league. Compare that to Sean Payton, who's widely considered the best play caller for the last 10 years in the NFL, maybe 15 years in the NFL. You can tell me all you want about the penalty call. It was a bad one. We'll have Mike Pereira on with us in a second. Okay? But do you think that Tom Brady would have thrown the ball on first and second down? The Rams had 2 timeouts. You have the ball. It's a tie game. You're in field goal range. You run on first, you run on second. Third and whatever, we see what we're going to do. We can run it on third down, and then we can bleed out the clock. So you get the ball back, and maybe you can still beat us. Or maybe you run out of time because you have no timeouts and you have a third-year quarterback. Coaching matters. And that dude was incredible. Culture, preparedness, ability to adjust, both offensively and defensively. And yeah, they had some great players make great plays. But it's putting them in position, pull off those plays. That is the magic of greatness. Brian Baldinger just joined us, and you ask anybody in football, whether you want to give Belichick the credit or say the whole group doesn't get enough credit, the best coach football team I've ever seen.